Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pleiadian Express Productions Sunday Night with Natalie and Gerri. Hello. And we are going to talk tonight about the enslavement of human race, New World Order, and Agenda 21. I know a little bit about Agenda 21, so I can talk about that. And answer anyone's questions. We have the question box open, and like what are they concerned about and stuff like that. And then we'll have Gerri will talk about her awakening and how she used the universal laws to overcome all of these problems. So why don't you start, Gerri? We don't have anyone asking questions yet, so why don't you go ahead and start? Maybe talk about some of this stuff.
Okay, some of the things that kind of came my attention was a few years ago, which I'll come to later down the line, was a few things that we're kind of noticing now, from chemtrails to banking system, up and down politics. I actually worked for a mortgage company where I'd be researching what was going on, and in the evening when a few drinks, I'd be putting sort of your government are trying to kill you, and I'm seeing other people kind of putting things on now, similar nature. That I've got back to work the next day, so are you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. A little bit shocked by what I thought I knew was actually reality, then became the fact that it actually wasn't. So what I wanted to do was, I suppose, like we've said, really, if there's if you have concern, things like there's a few things that have cropped up and people are talking about now. One of them being enslavement, which we're led to believe that finished a long time ago. Went to Liverpool in 2014. I found myself in the Titanic Museum, and as much as I kind of knew more or less what was going on, and I thought I did, there's an enslavement section in there about historically what had happened and things, and kind of started looking at it. Most people hear me say things like, what's right about this I'm not saying. I thought, why am I saying this now? But I thought to the degree that we were enslaved, I kind of understood, and then started to realise that no, I didn't really. So lots and lots of other things that cropped up. Went through maybe it'd be better starting, like you say, with that really, so there's a bit of a story behind it. I've mentioned this previously, that when I was young, I was thinking about this, so I remember sort of pacing down thinking, this can't be it, this can't be all we're here for. That you go to school, you get a job, you earn money and you pay bills and maybe get married and have children and do more of the same. Later down the line, you know, at some point you'd be happy. Just didn't sort of ring true for me. It just something wasn't right, and I kept racking my brains. And I more or less had this metaphorical tap on the head of, shut up, you'll know when you're 35. Which kind of, that was enough to appease me, I guess, and just shut up and went off and played rounders on the field or whatever it was. And sort of later carried on that I realised, looking back, everything was exactly as it should be. And even now, sometimes I look at things and think, this can't be as it should be, absolutely cannot be, but looking back, it always has been. So, one little bit beyond that, I started at Halifax in 1995. I was 19, and I'd gone in for an interview, and I'd always banked there from being like 6 months old, taking my 50p a week down pocket money. And when I went in, I did something I didn't realise I was doing at the time, which was I looked at the cashiers and stuff in the blue uniforms, and I love blue. I think most people know that. And I actually see myself sat there doing that job. I didn't realise at the time what I was doing was visualising and actually creating that part of my reality. That sort of continued, spent 10 years there, working my way up as best you can without actually wanting to get into any form of management or anything like that. I never wanted to manage anybody. Didn't really even know how to manage myself, still don't to a degree, I'm pretty sure. And one of my friends left. I was mortgage advising, and she went to a different company who basically said, well, you come work here too. I said, no, you can't. You say, I've got a job for life here. This is what you get in a bank. That's a really good job. And so things started to happen. I started to think, well, it's more money, and maybe I could do that. And as soon as I turned my attention to something else, what I had started to crumble. Things that I'd get things wrong. I'd get into trouble, get told off, and there's things that hadn't happened before. And I remember saying, somebody said, oh, well, you can't leave, you get a final salary pension. I said, well, I've been here 10 years. I've doubled my salary. Okay, I got a bonus by that point because I was mortgage advising. I said, little did I know I was talking about the 40-40-40 rule that I've now learnt down the line. But I basically said, in that time I've doubled my salary. Even if I stay 30 years and I double it, and double it again, it still won't be enough to live on. And then I get to retire on 2/3 of what I couldn't afford to live on anyway, which is basically we work 40 hours a week, 40 years of our lives to live on 40, 60, so we couldn't afford to live on in the first place. I said, I'm going to take the chances, and off I went. So I went to the estate agents, and my belief in what was possible began to change, and I worked harder, and the harder we work, the harder we have to work, which one of the things that we're not told is that we shouldn't really have to work hard for money at all, hence the instinct of the human race. It should be something that comes to us easily, anything that we turn our attention to basically, but we're given these blocks and taught to work against how things really work in terms of universal law. So I carried on there and got up to a bit more earnings that I'd kind of thought about, and as the saying goes, if you believe perceive you can achieve. So I did, and we used to have business development managers that came in the office, and somehow I sort of thought maybe I'd quite like to do that and have the freedom to be around and about, in the local area without being chained to a desk, if you like. And once again, no sooner had I turned my attention to something else, job popped up, and the one I had started turning absolutely crumbling once again, and it was leap, go, get it moving. So I did. So I went to this other job and was sort of travelling around I wanted to sort of maybe travel around Teesside, maybe Durham, and I got the borders of Scotland down to Lincoln, and across the sort of Huddersfield, which is quite a big sort of area. And that continued. I worked harder and harder and did really quite well. But not long after that, we got into the credit crunch, which most people think happened in 2008. It didn't actually happen in 2007. September 2007, it kind of kicked in. I remember being at the cold face of it, and so I think, what the hell's going on? This is an absolute disaster.
And that was all like manufactured.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's part of their agenda. Oh gosh, I have an echo.
Yeah, it's not too bad, which we're hurtling towards again, rapidly, which is one of the things that I was going to bring up previously. We can come back to that in a bit. So yeah, we hung on to our jobs about July 2008, at which point there was the redundancy call that we would get called for consultation, and there was 5 of us, and there was 2 that had got really established areas and doing really, really well. There was me that had like 18 months in a brand new area, so I didn't really have much of a history, but I'd done pretty well. And with 1 that hadn't really had a chance to get a grounding, get a footing in what he was doing. Another lady was on disciplinary. They announced 3 jobs. And so I was kind of okay at first and thought everything would be all right. And then my thought process began to change, that I didn't think I would be all right, to the point I was convinced I wouldn't be all right. paranoia, I suppose, set in. And at that point, they announced that the 3 jobs had gone to do. So that was me kind of out the door. That little did I know at the time, I'd created that myself, had manifested it. There effectively was a job there, but I'd put the mockers on it by my own thought process and stinking thinking, as I've said before. So came away from that absolutely beside myself, and got in touch with the company that, no, sorry, I just got in touch with one of my friends that I'd been talking to a debt company and sort of helping get them as many referrals as I could manage. And literally emailed and just said, yeah, I'm in the shop, being made redundant. And got a phone call from their CEO basically saying, would you come work for us? So I did, and it was on more money, which was a bonus considering I'd basically done myself out of a job previously. Worked in that, but the more I focused on, we were helping people out of debt. We would actually, you go and see customers, and sometimes you'd travel miles and miles, but you'd actually get there and they wouldn't even be in. So you then sort of wasted your time and energy and petrol, you name it, to not actually do anything. You didn't help somebody, but you also hadn't earned anything from it. What I learned at that point as well was a lot of companies out there offering free help and free assistance, but they didn't actually help to the degree that we did. We just come up with something that we basically charge for 3 or 4 months, but then we quash down somebody paying monthly, but straw man and stuff like that now, and the whole setup of it. It was right at the time, so it's right that I sort of explained what happened there. But the more my focus was on debt and all I could see was debt, was exactly what I ended up with myself.
You were attracting
attracting it. Yeah, exactly. To the point that they then said, well, this isn't working out. It was working out, but what had happened was we were putting people in touch, mortgage brokers in touch with the debt advisors, and they were doing a deal under the table so that we didn't get our 4% as business development managers. And so if the company, they were getting the business in anyway. I know, it's unbelievable, really. So they sort of said, well, we're not going to keep you on a retainer, which is the basis that I was being kept on at the time, but you could go down the franchise route if you'd like to, and they cost about 25 grand at the time. So I thought, well, okay, I'm a mortgage advisor still. I can do debt advice, do a bit of pensions. So I'll do that, and went about, got into business networking, and
it's your cat.
Every time, you know. Give up. So where was I? Yes, went business networking stuff, and it was that took a lot of guts, really, to then stand up in a room and sort of talk about yourself and say, this is what I do and who I am and what have you. And about this business, and again, my belief set was kind of, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? Got to 2010. Now, by this point, I had somebody living with me who had sort of a mindset that was not like one I'd had previously. And I started watching things like daytime TV. Jeremy Kyle, Loose Women, This Morning. I then wonder why my life was a bit of a mess, and kind of see why now, because of what I was spending my time on. So continued this business, and my plan B was, well, if it go into a debt plan and deal with the debt, but I'll run my credit cards up first, and when we've got a plan B, that's essentially what we get. So I'd also ballooned in weight. I'd gone up to 14 stone. I was taking aspartame sort of 8-10 times a day. I was on 2 litres of tap water. I was on Slimming World and every diet product you can even imagine. And I'd never been big, but I also had a belief set that you settle down, you get big, and you stop smoking, you get big. And so all of the things that we're sort of witnessing now that happen from people having these things in their lives, I got all in a sequence of like 5 or 6 years, culminating in beliefs that that would happen. Then I went to a meeting in 2010. Really didn't want to go to. I'd said I'd go to in Newcastle. I looked out the window in the morning and it had been snowing. It has been at the moment, actually. And I was never a person that did that. I would get up and I'd be, what am I going to do today, right? Or I'd already planned it the day before. It was snowing, so I'm going to go to this thing. And barely afford the petrol to go there. And this is about as shit as it can get. So I went to this meeting, saw somebody speak. It was Chris Ogle. I talked about how in the future we would have like 3 to 6 income streams. We would use things like cloud technology and things that we're using. So that future was currently now. Didn't think too much of it, cracked on with trying to build this business, and it failed pretty sort of badly, spectacularly badly, to be honest. And I got to end of 2011, that started kind of thinking this is about as bad as it could be, I think. And this point I applied for a job rather than just continue to be it was a self-employed job, but it was with customers supplied. So I applied for that, and it took months and months to get that through. I'd gotten to the point I had that much debt to be classed as solvent. I had to pull off some quite outlandish stunts really to get licensed to do so. Went out Christmas Eve, and came back as a really crap night, and just sort of chucked myself on the settee, at which point my TV blew up. And so again, it was kind of, I was attracting more of this shit that didn't want. Then the sky broke. So obviously being told something at the time, didn't really realise it. And I went to a do on New Year's Eve. I'd started listening to an audio book at that point, which was Actively Manifesting Change. Manifested bloody change, all right. That my thought process again was how it can't possibly get any worse than this. And woke up on New Year's Day morning and couldn't get out of bed because I'd broken my ankle. So that was kind of the worst point. That, yeah, going. I couldn't understand how things had gotten quite so bad in my life. But I was being taught a lesson to be able to kind of relay that further down the line, which is basically now. So from that point, kind of came home from the hospital, tears in my eyes, just sort of thinking, I don't know what on earth to do with myself. At which point I looked at The Secret that I'd known of from 2009. Actually thought I was doing it right. I thought I had the ability to do it right in terms of you focus on what you want and you get it, ask, believe, receive. What they don't tell you is it involves taking massive action, and it's also down to your emotional state and your vibration that you're putting out there. So you can be thinking everything's hunky-bunky as you like, but if you're vibrating that you're in fear or terror or you don't believe something's actually happening, that's actually the signal that you're emitting to the universe.
Yeah, and Nikola Tesla said everything is frequency.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, absolutely. It's vital.
It's the majority of what we kept kind of, their word is, not mine, ignorant of, and deliberately so we don't kind of suss out what's really going on, and we kept as slaves, essentially, that we're kind of in a system now where we're all enslaved and intertwined with one another. You know, in some way or other, we all work, or in some way, for or with the system. Even if you're self-employed, even if you're completely self-sufficient of what's going on, you're still relying on customers that might be working for the local council or leisure centre or schools or you name it. You know, even if you work for
you're on benefits, you're
absolutely
part of the system. You know, it's part of the government system, and it's really hard to get out of it. But you know, we're going to talk later about like how we can. I think a lot of it is, like you said, mindset and the link for growth, creating at a community level.
Yeah.
They want to keep us basically enslaved, keeping the system, and keep us disempowered so that we don't become the creators that we can be.
We are.
I was reading about Agenda 21, and I didn't realize that it actually came out in 1968. That's a really long time ago, and it was from a think tank. And one of the things they said, I found this on a website that I thought was really interesting, was one of the things that they said is that we needed to search for a new enemy.
Yeah.
And they said that the enemy, and now of course I can't find it because I probably scroll past, in searching for a new enemy to unite us,
Mhm.
we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, this is in 1968 that this think tank came up with this statement, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill.
Yeah.
And so this is part of the what they call the Hegelian
Galleon,
dialectic,
I think it's
Hegelian,
from.
and where it's like problem solution. You know, they
Problem.
create a problem and then they come up with the solution. And you know, this is what the New World Order, and there are two, I think there's two New World Orders. We talked about this
Yeah.
before. There's the New World Order of like whatever the West, and then they have like the New World Order of Putin and Russia, and so
Mhm.
really they're all the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's all the same. It's really only ourselves. There is no New World Order that's going to work.
Yeah. They're all in this together.
Yeah,
There's no way they're all in this together, and
yeah,
we're all in this
absolutely.
together. There's for all there's the facade a lot of the time of they bring in new leaders and this person's going to change the world and change. They're all being paid from the same purse. They're all sort of going to do the same dance to the same tune that they're given. It just depends when it's a bit like Russian roulette. It depends when it's their go. Didn't actually think David Cameron would get another go round actually. But then it wasn't a great deal of choice. There wasn't any choice.
I think like, you know, I really like Bernie Sanders in America, but I'm sure that he's going to be the same. Like he's going to come in. There's not going to be any like they talk that there's going to be a revolution. I actually think the revolution is a personal one.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that they do want, or they're vying for a lot of the time, is a revolution in terms of us going down and you know, marching to Houses of Parliament or whatever. Is that your mobile, people saying, or is it?
Is my mobile going off?
Just buzzing, just a buzzing. I didn't know if it was mine.
No.
But it shouldn't be. No.
Nope.
It might just be the Wi-Fi signal. What was I saying now?
Well, let's talk about like, okay, so
the oneness protesting and that sort of thing. I saw an event that's arranged for April 1st, which was by one of the groups that say they're part of revolutions. And one of the things it said was, you know, come down and protest. See you all, April Fools. Which basically, when you look at the wording of that, it's not referring to the date. It's referring to the people. So we'll see all their April Fools in the way that it's worded, because it could have been worded far differently.
Yeah,
so
protesting doesn't work actually, because again, it's the whole vibration. If you're the universe, you've said that before, the universe doesn't hear no. So if you're protesting against something, it's almost like you're giving more energy towards that thing that you don't want.
Yeah. So if you're saying don't bomb Syria or stop child abuse or stop whatever, the universe doesn't hear stop or don't or no. So they're laughing at us because we're actually then creating more of what we're saying that we don't want. It's actually the same with petitions. I don't like to say it because I know a lot of people do put their own petitions together and such like, but again, when we're putting energy into saying we don't want something, we're actually saying that we want it. So what we've got to do is create what we do want and keep building that and making it bigger and bigger.
Yeah, one thing that I read about Agenda 21 that kind of like really kind of scared me and showed me how like deep it all goes was they said that they used the word sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a word that a lot of like new agers, I used it and I really tuned into it and was like, yes, you know, we have to be, you know, sustainability. but they're actually using it to take our rights and to disempower us and keep us enslaved. It's not,
absolutely.
you know, the word that we want. It's not the sustainability we want.
Yeah, and if we hang on till further down the line and then say, oh, shit, we've got to be self-sufficient, they'll have already stitched us up. So we've got to get that self-sufficiency now. And that isn't a place of fear-mongering or anything else either. It's saying it is time-sensitive. I think we're a little bit behind where we should be or should have been. Not irredeemable by any stretch. That's basically what they'll do. If we wait to the time that we decide that we need to do something that time, they'll have already kind of stitched us up. There's other things in Gender 21, that basically things like they've already done a lot of this, which is closing a lot of airports, getting us all to use air roads and that sort of thing, that if we then decide to try and run away, there's literally not really anywhere to run. However, the alternative to that is to build what we do want here, and we won't need anywhere to run to. One of the things that came up for me, well, there's a lot of things, the things that are happening now, you know, you've got chemtrails up in the air that are there to block the sun out and to make us ill, and how much the chemtrails affect us depends how weak we are. So how strong we are, how well nutritioned we are, getting the rest that we need and such like. Because if we're not, and I'm one of the worst for this, not being, you know, up to full speed, that's when they can make us ill and bring us down. So yeah, there was lots and lots of other things like that. This one I didn't know if people want to say something, but there's lots of things that I mentioned. The banking system that the first time round was kind of, they've done it many times. This time was a drill, a bit of a warning to us. Listen to people say, oh, it's going to be 20-fold. I think for certain they'll 10x it in terms of what we saw last time. So it's not just about what happens in terms of, and well, we'll go down this route because I didn't put this into any service. What they'll do this time is question the banks, and then obviously saying that the bill, we have to foot the bill. They've made other amendments to certain rules in the last couple of years, things like where you couldn't access pension funds to pay debts off and things like that. They've actually kind of tweaked that now to say, well, actually, okay, that's a possibility. And obviously from age 55 from last year, anybody over 55 can get all of the money out of the pension. So basically, anybody that has, there's a, from historically with financial services, when somebody gets a lump sum, it could be on a critical illness payment payout or from a pension or anything like that, there's 4 main things that they do with it. And the first one is go on a holiday for a lifetime. The second is buy a car of the dreams. The third is a conservatory. And the fourth is actually pay things off, like pay the mortgage off or pay other bits and pieces. That's the same with endowments and that sort of thing, which is human nature. It's absolutely, it's in all of our nature, because we're kept so suppressed of the life that we're meant to have, that we're not meant to work, come here for a great life, a fantastic experience, to create anything that we want. And they've set it up so we get here. And we're stuck in a system that we're literally 9 to 5 or worse, working however many hours, that we're all made to work harder, faster, longer hours, not seeing family, children.
It's exhausting. Most of my friends that I know that like, even if they are self-employed and working even in healing, like I'm working in a healing field, I still find life here exhausting.
Yeah.
So and when I worked, I used to teach down at the university. I was even more exhausted. I mean, I'm less exhausted than that. But I have to spend a lot of time kind of like healing myself, keeping myself going.
Yeah, well, I've been more exhausted than I've ever been, that I've always kept going, and it's only looking back at that. When you listen to some stuff on bring on things like that, Pleiadians, you'll feel like you need to sleep for 18 hours. And I have to, because of literally, once you take your foot off the gas, and you realise you've been working against yourself, the universe, everything else, everything in you and to your core, that I've been.
Let's bring it around then, because we're getting we're at 30 minutes already. Let's start telling people what are the things that they can do to create the life, because I know you have some points to make it, that it's, we said frequency, mindset. So how do they change that?
What I did, I actually joined a personal development program. I kind of showed up at May 2013, and started it was listening to audios, or literally whatever I was doing. So I was working 18 hours a day anyway, doing mortgage advice and such. All the time I wasn't in front of a customer. I had audiobooks on, or videos that were kind of helping wash the bullshit from my brain, effectively. Even if I was out in the car driving to an appointment, I would have one thing after another, listening to what's possible, how we can change our mindsets, working with a vision board, what that actually looks like, writing goals down, actually saying what we want to manifest in life. And managed to sort of change that round from the New Year's Day 2012 to the middle of 2013. So that's the major thing with New World Order, is the majority of it is set up, like you said, to stop us becoming the creators that we actually are. And what's going to continue to happen, and again, this isn't fear-mongering, it's saying that it's no accident that the steelworks have been closing up and down the country. It's 30 years since the mines were closed down. There's a mine still up here, Bowlby, that's had a recent lots and lots of cutbacks on jobs. We're getting to the point where we need to actually begin to create what we want out of life, so what we want to do. Like yourself, you've gone self-employed. It's right, well, I'm going to do it doing something that I love. I don't know if you've experienced, what you usually find with people in energy work is at some point they will have been told it's unlikely that you'll ever make very much money out of this in training. At some point, everybody I've ever spoken to has said, yeah, we're told basically.
And why they tell you that, I don't know, because again, that's a limiting belief.
It's a belief set.
It's a mindset, and they're passing that on. Mm-hmm.
They're passing it on. It's more programming, mind control. It's so that also you have that belief set, and so you're actually repelling potentially getting high net worth clients, or as many clients as you would want to attract. And it's done purely for that reason. And so it also makes people either just go into it part-time, or it deters them from doing it entirely, which then stops the planet getting better, because we all need that energy work. All of us, basically. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I continued with that and managed to get up to certain things that I worked with on my vision board and such like. There's a number of things that we can do to combat the whole New World Order, but it's going to be all of us working together, singing from the same hymn sheet. I'm not sure whether to launch
locally, together and doing maybe through the internet.
Yeah. Rather than through the internet, to be honest, because one of the things that will happen, the internet won't go down. It might do ultimately, like in a long time, because Wi-Fi is really, really bad for our human bodies. Which means we'll spend more time. We can get out being more in actual company of one another, regular meetups. So that's one of the things that we might have to do another hour next week, basically a bit more on what Leap for Growth is about, because I'm probably tried to fit too much into an hour, where we're actually meeting up in person, but regularly. So it doesn't need to be 200 or 300 people at a meeting. You might have a room of 2 or 3 at a meeting, or 10 or 12, whatever. The amount of people that show up is the right people that show up. I've had a room of 25, and half of them were just turned up to whinge about things that were going on. But the actual meetings and the volume that they're done on, it's 100 at the moment. That'll increase with a view to somewhere between, 600 is the target, but there's no reason that we can't 10x that as well by the end of the year, if enough people get involved and get cracking basically with the...
Sorry to let people know, this is the link for growth that you're talking about.
Yeah. It's basically the meetings are set up again so that we are spending time with one another, actually being in joy, rather than just being at the daily grind. Like people come to my meetings that come, yeah, but I'm taking 2 hours out of work, and so, you know, I earn £10 an hour, so that's costing me £20 to be there. That's not really how it's set up. It's set up so we take time out and spend and have a good time with people, getting to know each other, and that in turn attracts more of what we do want, when we're actually just saying, you know what, instead of efforting and trying to make my £10 or sell my hours or buy low, sell high, or whatever that may look at, like taking that time out, which invokes universal law at the same time.
Right,
so the more that we do that, yeah, complete, and that in itself begins an upward spiral. So the more that we do that, so you might then, I was speaking to a lady on Thursday who she said she's got a multi-level marketing business or network marketing, that she's met people that are on limited incomes. I said, well, you know, if I could do that, I could do a little bit more, then that's great. So one of the other things I might mention as well later is the program that I used was actually with a view to being able to do work online, work from anywhere, and using, again, law of attraction. So you could be laying on a beach somewhere and money comes frequently and easily to you because you're actually out there just in the right vibration, having a good time, as you say. So that's, yeah, basically one of the aspects. One of the things that is kind of a New World Order is that they will shut the supermarkets down. So people said, well, we need to be self-sustainable, like we've mentioned before, in terms of perhaps growing food and such like. Well, yeah, absolutely. We should also be looking at buying locally, which using local independent farmers, traders, shops, that when we spend locally, that money, that for every pound that we spend, 50p stays in the local community, rather than when we spend in the larger stores, only 10p stays in the local community. So that in itself can then, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you like, that the more that we do that, in some instances, 100% will stay local, because if you're buying goods from somebody who lives locally, but they've got no overheads and such like that, when they're buying locally, that it will equate to 100%. That can then create more and more jobs for people that perhaps haven't got the opportunity on the doorstep at the moment, which is certainly where I am. I don't know about you. We've got that situation. You've got people going for 0 hours contracts, which again is a hack on the mindset that there's only ever so much available, and we can't, all right, we'll just accept that that's the case. Well, no, it's time that we take control of our own incomes and what we're capable of in terms of just what we can perceive, basically. But that begins with personal development and deciding that we want to do something, and secondly, actually deciding what that looks like and what our goals are to achieve it.
Yeah, I think one of the new age. No, I don't want to say hope, but I think it's used by the New World Order is, oh gosh, I just lost it there. What was it? That, oh damn. I think it was like, it was something about like how they tell you, oh yeah, that like, there isn't enough for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing is, you know, and they tried to say that there's not enough land, there's not enough water. There's plenty for everyone, and there's plenty for, you know, more people.
Absolutely.
So they get people into a fear mode, and so I don't know. I really think don't listen to the media at all. Turn off the TV.
Yeah.
And I also think that you know, that a lot of New Age and spiritual people think that someone outside is going to save us, whether it's religious God, Jesus, or an alien beings. They're not.
No.
It's up to us. You know?
Yeah. Saying goes, there is no cavalry. This is it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, sorry. I just got lost there.
Right. Right. One of the other things with buying locally, you know, they could close the supermarkets. For me, they could close them, but I'd be concerned about people's jobs. If we move over to shopping a little bit at a time, as new jobs can be created locally, that means we're creating new jobs for people to move over to from the chains or from, you know, large stores, retail parks and such like, rather than just saying, you know, let's boycott everybody, because that leaves a lot of people vulnerable, like we mentioned before, and that in turn then leaves us vulnerable if we're reliant on them as customers for another business or for other things. So we've got to do this. It's doing this sustainably as well. It's making an 80-20 shift towards what we do want, rather than just going all in and bang. It's like if we do, boycotting one day of the year or a month. Well, you could even boycott for a month. Well, personally, if I was one of the bad guys and had the retail chain and such like, I'd just get rid of 12 of the staff.
Yeah.
And make the other 11 out of 12 work harder. So it's about doing this softly, a little bit at a time, so they don't even really see it coming. There's a lot more sort of involved. We can probably go through next week, including sort of TV that we can all get involved in, a little bit like we're doing now, but speaking about what's going on locally in our local area. Also raising our own profile, perhaps what we're doing, what we might have chosen to do as our profession and potential income earner, right through to tithing and how that works. But one of the main things that is set up, I think some of these we'll go through because there's not really enough time to spend on each of them to do any justice really. So we've mentioned a couple of things there, went through a little bit each week. But one of the main ones I think that's really important is there's a leadership program, and it's built on very sort of solid foundations that if or as we all step up and get involved in that, and we create a network across the country, with enough of us, by 2018, it's actually got the infrastructure there already. So we build and grow, and we've got meetings, we've got people actually running areas and communities. We've then got the capacity to render what we've already got not required. So there's no need to kind of protest anything or say, we don't want this. We're doing it. We're going down a different route already and creating what we do want, which kind of obliterates what we don't want and takes that out of the equation.
Yeah, I really think what happened with humanity too is that there was a power vacuum for a long time, and actually I think there still is a power vacuum, and that's why the cabal, or I mean, I don't even know if they're all connected or not, but they're stepping in with their agenda, you know, that power vacuum, because each people, as humanity has forgotten its own individual power, so there was just this vacuum.
Yeah.
And that's what's really caused a lot of the problems. And so it's coming back to being self-responsible, taking care of your frequency, and taking action, and taking your power back.
Yeah, absolutely. And it takes for all of us to do that. You know, it's for all of us, you know, I've managed to turn things around. Well, that was some time ago. I'm now back to, right, well, I need to do this in the way that I'm sort of saying we should all go down that route. Then that's for me to go down that route first and foremost as well, actually. But again, using the tools that are in the kit bag, if you like, that are kept sort of from us. I don't know if we can, what's the best way to put them?
Yeah, we have.
Hey?
Yeah, go on. We just have a little bit of time left.
Yeah, that's it. We've got enough to kind of, I think, yeah, I think there's certain things that happened after I'd got into the sort of mindset and actually what's possible. One of the things when I used this personal development program, I actually went to America and to Barcelona further down a couple of months later, and actually witnessed people that were making a heck of a lot of money online or from different marketing businesses that basically there for all of us to use. And there's tools within Link for Growth as well to enable us to actually extend our reach with what we're doing, raise our profile. Those tools are also there to help show what's happening in the community, including district websites and such like that. We can be telling people what's going on in a certain area, but also we can use that as a platform to say what we're doing and promoting other people as well, all completely free, with the sole purpose basically of getting an audience that where we would have looked in the paper years ago, you get a free paper saying what's actually happening in your area. To get people into the habit of looking at that first and foremost, like what's going on, what they can get involved in, be it sort of local charity days rather than going, again, the large corporates that the 97% of the money goes to, God knows, or 93% of the money, I think the statistic is, isn't it, goes to people sort of in the funnel, so to speak. So yeah,
I was shocked when I learned about the charity scam. How much of the money for charities goes to the CEO?
Yeah, I wasn't, and I don't know where it came from. I was nominated to do the A-List Challenge in 2014, and I just went ballistic. I had no idea where it came from. Absolutely, categorically, wasn't doing it. And it was only then I had to kind of evidence why I was having a hissy fit on not doing something, and it was then that it kind of showed. So there's things like this that have happened a lot over the last few years. Even things like I've mentioned before, I know we've looked now at there being fluoride in the water. In 2011, I got a water cooler, and I've already sort of explained where my mindset was and how bad it was in terms of money. I've got this water cooler for the office, spring water in it, and the business failed and I had to take the spring water cooler home, and I was having an absolute fit. Tried to send it back and said, "You tied in." I can't remember if it was a year or 2 years. I was like, no, that was, I need to go back, and it was £1 a week. It was £1 a week to rent it, and £5 for a bottle of water, like 27 pence a litre of water or something like that. But my mindset was that crushed. It's like, oh, okay. So I didn't know that what was happening at the time was deliberately to get me off tap water and such like. But then other things have happened. You got to January 2014, and I just went, I threw a wobbly on my microwave, unplugged it, not bloody using that, and again, didn't know where it had come from. Didn't know if I'd be able to live without it. It's still on the dining table, the dining chair in the room. That I took it out and said, I'm not using that anymore. And again, it was then only evidence later down the line that things started showing up, experiments with microwaves and what they actually do. But to me, it was just something that went off in my brain, or a download, I suppose you would say now, that I was thinking, well, hang on, this is good. It's at stomach and chest height for most, well, women and men. It's at head height for children. We were always told not to stand in front of it. So there's been all these things, succession of things that have kind of been, oh, right through to sort of saying, well, what am I here for at the end of 2013, which is when Link for Growth turned up, was like, right, that's what I'd already set other goals and other things that I want to do, and they're sort of already en route to manifesting.
You think that Link for Growth can really help to bring people together and to create the reality that we want to create?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. That's what it's there for. So free events, it's got a token contribution if somebody wants to make it, which I'll speak about next week, because not enough time really to be sort of rushing into quite a detailed story really.
Yeah, well, we're doing shows every Sunday, so we'll have loads of time.
No, we'd have gotten a bit more into this one, but not to worry. There's probably looking at like 3 hours, not really in all the things I wanted to kind of go through. Sort of being a bit ambitious.
I just wanted to talk about, because I'm sorry, I'm going to jump back to Agenda 21, because I have a computer here, and the list of things that they say are unsustainable: private property, private car ownership, crop irrigation, family unit, homeschooling.
Yeah.
That's unsustainable. Homeschooling. I would have thought homeschooling would have been, really, good. Single family homes.
It is.
What do they want us to do? What is sustainable for the elite? Like,
it is sustainable. The only reason they're saying it's not sustainable is because they don't want it to be sustainable. Say it.
Yeah.
That's the science behind it.
And again, you go back to their statement, the people that came up with Agenda 21, they wanted a common enemy. They know that, like, when we think, oh, that's bad, that we'll all get together like a herd and, walk over that way, like zombies. oh,
Yeah.
that's bad, and it unites us. But we don't need an enemy, you
No.
know?
No. That's it. It's basically they've done this for a very, very long time, and when they say you can't have something or take something away, and I've seen this various meetings and such like that, they'll put a clock ticking, and as soon as there's a time delay on, do stampede to it, and they're like, oh, we need that, and this isn't real. It's not. Certainly not in keeping with spirituality and universal law and such like that. There's enough of everything for everyone. But that's the tool that they've used for a long time, that there's not enough of everything for everyone, lack, scarcity, competition, and a herd mentality, yeah, that they'll say, this isn't sustainable, and everyone goes, oh, it isn't sustainable, and jumps on the same bandwagon. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute, who made that rule? Who said it's not? Because there's only us that can turn around and say, well, actually, yes, it is.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned the last time that, like, okay, I think we talked about this, so I can't remember, was that I don't think they, like, a lot of the stuff that I see on the internet is that they want to kill us. They don't actually want to kill us. They have us right now where they want us, enslaved. That's it, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
They want us enslaved and not thinking for ourselves and not creating and empowering ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it said they want a reduction, like on the George Guidestones and that sort of thing.
I think that's like a small section, but like I said, there's a power vacuum. So I think all these dark factions kind of, come in because because we're giving our power away.
Yeah.
I don't think all of the elite, like if there was, I personally, if they wanted to kill us, they could have killed us already, and we wouldn't have 7 billion people on the planet.
If they kill us, they can't energy harvest.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't sort of suck that from us. There was something else I was thinking of earlier today that just, I can't remember. Even things like Tommy Cooper dying on stage, it was last night actually. I thought, just suddenly dawned on me, I had to look at the video and I thought, like more of the same, Illuminati sacrifice. It was everybody laughing at first, and then like, oh shit, what's happened? I remember I was probably only like 8 or something. But yeah, the energy harvest, but also eat human flesh. So I think even the 75%, 90%, whatever they talk about reduction is, yeah, it's part of New World Order and completely getting humanity to give up the free will. Which my understanding is it's the only planet with free will. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, because it sounds a bit extreme, but that's what I'm sort of led to believe.
Well, I think, like, to me, that's a very human-centric way of thinking, that we're the only planet with free will. I think that we're here, we have it, and we should use it and not give it away, but it may not be that we're the only planet. I don't know. I think that's very human-centric.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, they ultimately to chip us and such like, in order to take away the any sort of financial requirements or that we have in terms of buying foods and such like, which is, I understand that's one reason that people sort of say, well, money's bad. It's actually not. It's just energy. But again, that's something we'll probably have to discuss in another.
Yeah, you got me on that, because I've been having, like, I have done well in doing my business, and then I went through a period recently where I wasn't doing well, and one of the recurring thoughts that I was having was money is bad, and I really wanted to get away from money and go into a new system. And you actually said to me, well, that's why you're not making any money, Natalie. It's a limit. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
That's it. It's just energy. What it also is, though, I mean, people said, well, we should get back to bartering. That's what money is. In time, we'll move into
bartering.
It's just, I'm saying, I want that from you, but I think it's worth this. And so rather than you saying, oh, you like my pen, Gerri, here, you can have my pen. And I thought, thanks very much, which is giving, with no kind of price tag on it. which is the world that we will move into ultimately, but we've got to work with what we've got to get to where we want to be. You can't just do away with something. You do away with it, it leaves it in their hands, and we're going to have more of the same of what we've got.
I think exactly, and it'll create another power vacuum. We already have a power vacuum. We have to move in to that area like water flowing. You know, if you break down a dam, everything's just going to gush out. We have to chip away and create the thing that we want to inhabit.
Exactly. So if I've witnessed these people that have gone on to do different things, and they're saying, well, you know, just purely by changing their mindset, well, you know, I've heard people say, oh, I'm living from a suitcase, I've never been happier. A few months down the line, they're all of a sudden making a few, you know, £1,000 a month online or whatever. I'm getting an apartment, I'm getting a car, I'm getting what's the case like? I thought you were ecstatic. So it's perfectly normal. It's our nature. But when we've got, we can give others. And one of those things is, like I said, giving from a full heart. We've suddenly then all do that, and there's a pot monthly of thousands, tens of thousands, or even into millions when there's enough of us that can go out to, you know, we wouldn't be then risking getting fined for feeding the homeless, we'd be housing them.
Yeah.
All purely by doing a little bit each.
Yep.
Which to me is, it's ultimate. Yeah.
Tell people where they can contact you.
Yeah, just Facebook, Gerri Ridioff, or Twitter, same, and Google Plus is same too. Or I'm on gerriridioff.co.uk, or smile@gerriridioff.co.uk is the email. Pretty
And
much.
also, you have like a financial bliss page, maybe.
Yeah, I'll probably. That's one I haven't used. That's the business that failed spectacularly in 2011. I've still kind of just left the page open on Facebook, and I thought, well, that might be something to start to look at different network marketing, such like things that I'll implement, because if I'm saying to other people, this is what we do and how we do it, then I've got every responsibility to do exactly the same myself. But I think that's probably, whether I'll just do a page that's my name, which I might well do, but maybe I'll run the two concurrently. It's just that's what I thought I'll kind of go, yeah, that's
maybe mention the link for growth links, or at least a few of them, just for people. Now, the links are going to be in the information on the video, but just go ahead and tell people.
Yeah, there's a 4-minute audio bit on there which kind of explains about events and what the actual meetups are there to do. That they're all free. It's people to get to know one another and just bring new opportunity to one another, because we never know what something's going to be created from a simple hello conversation, and it could tell you dozens of stories of things that have come from that and that will continue to. There's also www.linkforgrowth.biz, which is the main site, and get more information kind of on there. I don't think there's anything. There's lots of the forum and all sorts that you can go on that we can share information. You get a profile and such like on there. I think we put that on last time of my profile on there, but it's going to need some updating as I transition into where I'm going next on what's up next. So.
Great. Thank you so much, Gerri. That was great information. And if people want to contact me, I do healing and reading in Munaki. I'm a shaman. And you can contact me at aleahealingservices.com, and I'm Starseed Shaman on Facebook, Google+, WordPress blog, and YouTube channel, and Twitter at Alea Healing. Thanks everyone for listening in, and see you next Sunday.
Next week. Thank you.